Hello, welcome or welcome back to the Yarn and Yarns YouTube channel. My name is Angela and all the places you can find me should be linked in the description box below this video. Welcome to part 4, I think, of Vlogmas-ish. It is Thursday the 8th of December. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. It's just after 8 in the morning and I'm getting ready to head out of the house for a day of work, and so I'm just popping in to share Advents with you. It looked like a beautiful sunrise this morning. I think I just shared a little clip of the view out of the craft room window as I was going up to get my Advent packages to bring down, and it just, oh, it looks so lovely. Hopefully at some point we'll be able to get down to the beach for a winter beach sunrise. If one, we get the sort of clear skies for it, and two, I can drag my butt out of bed in the cold to do it. I'm sure I can, it's always worth it. Anyway, I've got to head out of the house in a short while and there won't be much opportunity for me to record today, so I probably will just be sharing my Advent openings today. So I'm going to start with my fibre Advent. Look at that, beautiful grey. Okay, let's empty this. So a caramel sort of hard toffee sweet, which I shall add to my bowl of treats. Have a hot chocolate today, thank you Lisa, I love a nice hot chocolate. And I've just bought a new packet of those little marshmallows, so I'll be able to enjoy that at some point. I might save it for the weekend. And then fibre today, look at that gorgeous grey. Let's see, it is Suffolk and Ryland blended together, and it's one that's again a Surrent wash, so it's still in the grease. I love that grey, it's just so gorgeous, isn't it? I've left the recording late enough in the day today that I don't have to have the overhead light on, so although it's quite dull, the camera is reasonably good at picking up the colours, so I think that's pretty true to colour. Gorgeous. I shall look forward to starting that. I did spin up one Rolag from yesterday's fibre last night, and that was an absolute joy to spin. You can see some little pops of orange coming through, but those Rolags were drafting so nicely with this spindle. This is an Enid Ashcroft support spindle, and this was the last thing I did before I went to bed, and it was really hard to make myself stop and not start another Rolag because I just wanted to keep spinning. That is fibre Advent for today. Yarn Advent, let's update you. I did make my square yesterday. I don't know if you can see that. Just might be just off the camera, but I finished my square from the mini skein from yesterday. I did get to the 4th of my 4 mini squares and I ran out of yarn slightly, but I don't think you can really tell. Maybe you can slightly. So this one here, if you can see here, there's 2 treble clusters that have the last little bit of leftover from the previous day from Charlie. So it's a slightly deeper pink. And then I had a little bit left over from the gingerbread house skein that Ruth sent. And because the pinks and the greens were fairly similar, I just added that in to finish up the square. And I think you can't really tell, especially from a distance. Now I've pointed it out, you can probably see that slightly deeper pink and the sort of greens and browns are maybe a little bit more saturated than in the mini that sort of Charlie sent yesterday. But yeah, I was quite pleased with that, and it means I'm using up little leftovers. I've not got too many leftovers, but I have been saving them each day. So I've got a teeny tiny little bit of gingerbread house still. Got a little bit of the Owl About yarn, and I've also got a little bit of the Ring of Rosie from day one. I did specifically keep those with the idea that if I did run out of any of the minis before I completed like a 4 sort of patch square, that I could hopefully use up the extras. Anyway, today's yarn, shall reveal this together. Ooh, that's really pretty. Yellows and oranges and some grey in there as well. That's gorgeous. So I shall look forward to crocheting that up. I'm going to throw that in my bag and work on that on the train on the way in. I should get 1 square done on the way in, 1 square done on the way home, and then if I get some time in my breaks I'll finish the other 2. However, unfortunately, well not unfortunately, I do have to finish off our Christmas shopping today. I've got a couple of books to get, which will be really easy, but also James's mum has requested a pair of pyjamas, so I'm going to go on the hunt for those, and then that should be our Christmas shopping done. There are some treats in this bag. There's some Percy Pigs, there's one, and there is another one, but he's kind of stuck to the inside of the bag. But that's fine, I've got no shame, I'll just lick that off. Right, on that disgusting note, let's get the rest of my day done. Good morning, it's Friday the 9th, it's just after 8 o'clock and I'm trying to get my breakfast, but someone is distracting me and this is pretty much how most of my days start. And I know there's lots of you out there who love seeing a little appearance from Newt on these vlogs. Are you enjoying that belly rub, Newt? I'll take that as a yes. So unladylike. Yeah, you. What's this leg doing? I have been fed and watered. Newt has been fed and watered. I've packed up some Yarn and Yarns orders. They're now stashed in my bag, ready to drop off at the post office on my way into work. I've got about 15 minutes before I need to leave the house, so it's time to open up my advent. Before I do that, I will share with you some progress from yesterday. I was feeling pretty much wiped out all round yesterday. It was a long day at work, which is not usually the case. I mean, my days at work at Waterstones go really quickly because it's so busy, but I just had a bit of a lack of energy yesterday, so I didn't do a ton of crafting when I got home last night. I did start spinning up yesterday's batch, and I'm spinning that on the third of my 3 Alice Savage spindles. This is a lovely, lovely colour. I really enjoy this and it smells so sheepy and good. I'm finding this blend a little bit difficult to draft evenly, so this yarn is going to be gently thick and thin. That's absolutely fine, it's what it wants to be, but I shall definitely look forward to getting back to that one when I'm able to. I feel like I'm slipping further and further behind where I'd hoped that I might be with my spins, but that's okay, I've only got the time that I've got. I will share with you though that I finished day 2, which is the Cheviot braid, or Cheviot braid. So I finished day 1 and day 2 now, which is nice, although we are on day 9, so we'll quickly gloss over that. I didn't even manage to finish my crochet square yesterday, and usually that's the one thing that I do manage to do. I have, on the train, made 2 complete squares from the yarn that I opened yesterday. And that's working up so beautifully, and I've almost got a 3rd done on the train as well. I've only got a little bit of this yarn left now though, so I don't think I'll make a complete 4th square, so I'll need to go and raid my scraps and see if I've got something that I think will coordinate with this. But I'm going to pop that back in my bag and take it out with me today, and I'll see if I can finish that last square on the train. I definitely will be able to do that on the way in this morning. Also, chatting about things that happened yesterday before we move on to today's advents, my copy of Spin-Off magazine arrived in the post yesterday, and I just wanted to share it with you. There's some lovely projects in here, but in particular this mitt project on the front really caught my eye, because as someone who enjoys spinning up small quantities of fibre, I love spinning up like 10-20 grams of minis of fibre sampling. These mitts really appeal to me because they seem like the perfect thing to use up a few bits and pieces, so I'm definitely going to try and keep that project on my radar. I'm not sure if I particularly have my advent mini skeins that I'm working on now in mind, or just raiding my stash of other minis that I've spun previously, but yeah, I thought they were really lovely, and I'm desperate for some new mitts and gloves. Although, of course, hopefully I will have my Varia mitts finished in the not too distant future. Okay, so enough waffling about that. Let's get to today's advent. So it's day 9, of course. So today's tea is Irish cream, which is chocolate, coffee and sweet vanilla. I'm not sure how I'm going to like that. I will try it, but I'm not a big fan of coffee. I love the smell of coffee. There's just something about the taste of it that doesn't always sit well with me. So yeah, I'll give it a try. We'll see. And then let's start with Fibre Advent today, day 9 from Lisa. I left, actually I might put a shot in, I left everything that I'd opened just here on the floor where I sit when I left the house yesterday, and the wrapper, the paper, ended up shredded under the Christmas tree. I wonder how that happened. Newt, looking at you over there on the sofa. Looking like butter wouldn't melt. Anyway. Right, let's see if we can do a reveal. She's looking, oh, she's woken up now, she can hear me rustling this paper. Ooh. It's very well wrapped. It's like a pass the parcel. Oh look, there's 2 layers. It is like a pass the parcel. Here we go. Oh, sorry, I glimpsed that before you did. It's gorgeous. So there's a really dark, I think it's a black, it could be brown, it's a bit difficult to tell in this light, but it's got some shots of purple through it. Oh, you can see that quite nicely on the camera. So black Welsh Mountain and purple mystery ball, an attempt at nightshades. I can't wait to spin this. And again, it's a cement wash, so still in the grease. I love blending up a dark base with a pop of something. It's one of my favourite things. A bit like the Rolags we opened the other day, which were a brown with orange. I've blended up some yarn like that before. I don't know why, it just makes my dark heart happy. And actually, we've been watching, and we've just finished and loved, well, I loved it, the Wednesday series on Netflix, based around the Addams family and particularly the character Wednesday. And this is giving me Wednesday vibes for sure. Super well coordinated. We have some nighttime tea to go with the nightshades theme. And there is some cute washi tape in here as well, which is penguins. I don't know how well I'll be able to share that with you. Super cute. Super cute. And a caramel tree. I think I'll leave that paper on the floor for Newt to have some fun with. Okay, I've got to get a shift on. Yarn Advent, last one from Charlie. Okay, let's take a little peek in the bag. It's all tangled up together. So there is what I'm assuming is a chocolate lolly. And it says wow. Wow, indeed. I have got a really good selection of goodies to keep me going this weekend, and I do have the whole weekend off, which I'm super excited for. And then the yarn today has got a sort of bluish green base with speckles of sort of rusty orange in there, some pinks. I think I'm going to adore crocheting this one. So actually I'm going to pop that straight into my bag so that I can work on those. I'm wondering, I know it's not an exact match, but I've got a little bit of this left over from Ruth's first day, which the yellows are quite matching to this. It does have sort of purple and green in rather than orange and grey, but I might throw that in and see if I can finish square 4 with that. This is where my day 8 packaging ended up. I started out over the other side of the room. Obviously, Newt wanted me to have a present under the Christmas tree. Good morning, friends. Welcome to my Saturday. It is the 10th of December, I think. It's quite late in the day. We've had a very lazy start here. It's almost 10 o'clock and I've not long got out of bed. I've been awake for a while, but it was just so nice and warm and cosy in there. I didn't want to get up. And I'm doing my usual morning routine of cuddling the cat. I'm itching to open my advents, but I think I'm going to save them for a little bit later. I've got a couple of things that I'd like to get done this morning, so I think my advent opening will be my little reward for once they're done. Also, can we just take a minute to look at the mess on the floor over there? That is Newt, who has been enjoying the wrapping from Lisa's advent for the last couple of days. She's got all her toys and she's been wrapping them up in the paper and then scrabbling them around. What a mess. One of my jobs is to tidy up, although I might just leave the paper for her to play with because, you know, she's having fun. Aren't you?
Look at that mess you've made in the background. Look at it.
I also need to go out and fill up the bird feeder. Look at all those birds out there. Don't know if you can see them. Hopefully you can. And there's only the smallest bit of seed left, so need to brave the cold in a minute and get that sorted. So the time has marched on a little bit. It's now around midday. I'm not quite sure. I've lost track of time a little bit. I feel like there's so much to do around the house at the minute. We've only got a couple of weeks until James's parents arrive, and basically since I had COVID back in, when was that, September, October, I've got really behind with the housework, so everywhere is just a complete state. So yeah, there's a lot to do, but it will get done, it's fine. Anyway, I'm taking a little bit of time out and I've come up to Advent Corner so we can open today's Advents. But before I do that, I'm going to catch you up with a couple of projects that I've been working on over the last couple of days. I've got some Snowball tea, which is the hot cocoa tea from Bird and Blend, in my mug today, which is very tasty. So let's chat about some of my sort of hit list projects first. I'm calling them my December hit list. My Ultra sweater is now dry. It has blocked. It is almost the length that I would want it to be. It is maybe a quarter of an inch shorter than I would have liked if I was going to go for my ideal length. But I'm thinking, you know how things are over time, when you wear them a few times they kind of tend to stretch out and bag out a little bit, so hopefully that will happen with this. I need to weave in all of my ends, and I also am going to play around with this neckline, hopefully while we've still got some daylight, so I can play with this black yarn. And I want to thank everyone who has left suggestions about what I might be able to do. Some folks suggest that I knit, whatever I do, I knit it inside out, so if there is curling, it will curl inwards to sort of cover the ends of the colour work. A couple of people also suggested, and this is what I was kind of planning to try first anyway, is to rip back a couple of these rows of ribbing. I mean, this ribbing is only like 4 or 5 rows anyway, it's really short, but to actually leave a couple of rows of the ribbing sort of live, as it were, in effect, before I do the I-cord bind off. So I'm going to try that first and see if that works for me. I just need it to be a smidge less tight around the neck. I've also managed to finish the 2 spindle spins that were on my spinning hit list, which I chatted about I think in the last video, and unfortunately I've brought everything up with me, or so I thought, but I've left my Turkish spindle downstairs with the orange sort of rolags on there. They are now spun up, and so I just need to ply those yarns. I also did finish the rolags from the fleece that I prepped earlier on in the summer. So I washed a fleece that I purchased from Fernhill Farm. Yeah, I washed it, I carded up a couple of rolags just to play around on my spindle with it, and so I've spun up the rest of those. And I will probably wind this off straight away because I'm going to want to pop this spindle into my basket, because as you know, if you've been following the Vlogmas videos, I am trying to spin through my fibre Advent with my support spindles. Okay, so let's chat about Advent projects. So first, my crochet. I did manage to, on the train on my way to and from work yesterday, I finished the last square, which was what I had left to do from the day before, and I used a teeny tiny little bit of the yarn from day one from Ruth to finish off the final square. And from a distance you probably can't tell because the yellow is very, very much the same as the yellow in the skein from Charlie. However, if you look closely, there's a teeny tiny little bit of purple that came in right at the end that's not in any of the other squares. However, because the grey in this yarn is on the purple side, it matches in quite nicely, and in the finished blanket you're never going to be able to see that. And then I also started working on the skein of yarn that I opened in yesterday's Advent, and on my train rides to work and back I managed to finish a couple of squares of that, and then I finished up the last ones yesterday evening while we were sat just watching some rubbish on the telly. For my 15 minutes of Advent spinning, I did manage to get a little bit done on yesterday's bat, which is the lovely Welsh Black Mountain with the purple blended through it. This is the first spin that took me a little bit of time to find a good spindle and fibre combination. So I originally started this spin on my beautiful Woodland Woodworking Oak King spindle. I love this spindle so much. However, this spindle is really light, and I was finding it really hard work to add enough twist into the fibre to get this to draft out nicely. the staple lengths are a little bit inconsistent, I think, in this one, because at some points it's drafting nicely, at other points I can't seem to get enough twist into the fibre to hold it together. So after a little bit of frustrating time with that woodland woodworking spindle, I switched to this spindle that I had. James gifted this to me for my birthday a couple of years ago. I think it's from this Yarn Spindles, I think, on Etsy. And this one's a little bit heavier, and so I switched to this one, and it was a much nicer spinning experience once I had switched. But with all the faffing, my sort of 15 minutes of spinning time sort of disappeared. Okay, time to open up today's advents, and I've just picked out number 10 from my tea calendar, from the Bird and Blend tea calendar, and this is Salted Caramel Lebkuchen. I'm sure I am pronouncing that incorrectly. I'm assuming it's maybe a German thing. I never did any German languages at school, so my pronunciation is going to be worse than terrible. And it is gingerbread dipped in salted caramel, which, oh, how nice does that sound? I love gingerbread. Okay, yarn advent. I'm going to be starting to open the packages from Jeanette today, and in the parcel that Jeanette sent me, she also added this extra little gift, which is so lovely, and it's actually a beautiful soap inside here, and the soap is orange and clove. The box is just stunning, isn't it? So we're actually almost through using the soap that's in our bathroom, so this is perfectly timed, and I think I'm going to keep this for my Christmassy stitch markers. I have randomly grabbed a bag from Jeanette, and this has a cute little polar bear on it, so cute. So let's have a look at what yarn I'm going to be working with, hopefully later on today. There's no label in there. Look at that beautiful yarn. It looks like it might be an opal or something like that. There's some yellow poking through. Oh, that's going to be just gorgeous to work with. So I shall pop that in my bag and hopefully get crocheting on that later this afternoon. And then package 10 in my fibre advent. 10 already. 10. Let's try and unwrap this together. Ooh, oh, 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 that feels so soft, so soft. Oh, it just says mystery wool. That feels so soft. It's kind of various shades of brown. There's almost like some reddy tints in there as well. So yeah, that's super soft. I shall look forward to putting that onto a spindle. And actually, this one seems quite fine and soft compared to the Welsh, the Black Welsh Mountain yesterday. So this might be a great candidate to use my Woodland Oak King spindle with. And then inside the package, I have a peppermint tea. And also another of these caramel sweeties, which I'm really enjoying these. Just popped into the garden to take a couple of photos because the light's much nicer out here than in the house. But I realised that because the temperatures had gone really cold overnight, that some of the pots that I hadn't yet turned upside down have created big thick layers of ice on top. So I've pulled them all out and I've made a weird little ice sculpture. I know it's a random thing to show, but you know, it's the little things that tickle me at this time of year. Look at these, they're amazing. This one's got like little air bubbles trapped in it. This one's got a stick frozen through the middle. Love these perfect circles. My afternoon of knitting did not go entirely to plan. Where have I put my sweater? Here it is. So I really hoped to try and get this finished, but I have not touched the neckline at all yet, because as I was sewing in the ends on the bottom and the arms, my cast off just randomly popped open on one of the sleeves. I have no idea what happened. It's never happened to me before. I'm wondering if maybe I hadn't caught one of the stitches quite right, and anyway, I had to rip out and unravel the cast off and then reknit a couple of rows and cast off again. and by that time I was rapidly losing the daylight. You can tell by now, I'm sure, by the crummy light that it's dark outside. And just picking up these few stitches on the cuff made me realise there was no way I was going to be able to do it for the neckline. Although the neckline's not huge, it was just a real pain trying to do it on the cuff in the fading light. I'm going to make this my job to do first thing in the morning tomorrow instead. So yeah, between that and just faffing around and wasting time, I haven't really done much else this afternoon. I have just picked up my yarn from Jeanette that I opened earlier, and I'm going to work on my crochet squares now. While Newt is still over the other side of the room hogging my habitations row, I thought I'd come to a different corner of the room and try and make myself feel a little bit cozy. And I've just spent the last hour or so, maybe a little bit more, crocheting up my squares from today's yarn from Jeanette, and I've woven in the ends on all but one of the squares. And while I've been doing that, I think I've spoken about this on the channel in the past, I have been trying to answer some of the comments, reply to some of the comments on the previous Vlogmas videos. It gets quite difficult for me to keep up with everything, but I kind of have a little routine or a little rhythm that I get into, because I really appreciate people taking the time to comment. I know that it's a super busy time of year, there are tons of Vlogmas videos, and I just so appreciate anyone who takes the time to watch, and extra appreciation for those who take the time to comment as well. And the temptation is for me to sit and answer a bunch of comments all at once, sort of condense that. But I like to spend, I know this probably sounds a little bit cheesy, but I like to spend a little bit of time with each comment. As I say, I appreciate people taking the time, so I like to try and take a little bit of time when I'm replying, even if it's just a short reply, just to read that comment, enjoy it, and then reply. I get myself into a little rhythm with whatever project that I'm working on, and for this particular project, I would crochet one round of my granny and then reply to one comment on a previous video. So I thought you might enjoy that little sort of insight into how I go about trying to keep up with all of the comments on YouTube. I'm not doing a very good job, but I'm trying. Yeah, if you happen to receive a reply from me early evening on Saturday the 10th of December, you were probably keeping me company while I make my granny squares. I'm actually going to take a little break from the making and go and enjoy a nice warm bath. So I was going to try and squeeze Sunday into this vlog as well, but I've just been editing the footage and we're up to almost 30 minutes. So I am going to say thank you so much for watching Vlogmas Part 4, the 4th instalment. I will be back again soon. I've already started recording footage for the next, it's Sunday the 11th as I'm signing off. So yes, I shall hopefully be back again in a few days' time with some more Vlogmas content, so I hope you all join me. Please do let me know in the comments below what you've been working on for the last few days. How are your Advent projects coming along? Have you been out doing anything festive? I would love to know. I'm off to continue my Sunday, which you will see in the next video coming up soon, so I hope you will join me for that. But until we do get to spend time together again, I hope you get to do some other things that you enjoy. Great big woolly hugs to you all. Bye for now. Bye.